welcome to another Drive-In Double Feature. I'm Ryan,
I'm Nathan.
and this is the podcast where we talk about two movies a week every Tuesday and Thursday. But before I get anything else, we have a Patreon over at patreon.com/Drive-In Double Feature podcast. Nathan, I was at a diner and I went to the diner
Phew!
to, to go get something to eat on my way to the NASA facility, which is where I
Oh, of
actually
course.
went.
Yeah. Damn it. How do you keep doing this? They should give you a
Yeah, I
free
was
pass now.
I was at the NASA thing looking at one of the I was looking at like the Buzz Aldrin statue
Oh, yeah.
and
hmm It would have been funnier if you named like some unknown astronaut.
oh yeah, like uh I can't even think Chuck Yeager. No, that he wasn't an astronaut. But but anyway, I look at the statue and someone's like, "Oh, that's a really amazing statue." And I'm like, "Yeah, he's a really amazing guy." And they're like, "Uh-huh, but you know what? It's even more amazing than Buzz Aldrin." And that is the Patreon for the Drive and Double Feature podcast. It's got some fun games, some fun conversations over there where it's just a good old time between two friends, just having a good laugh. So that does sound fun. And they said, "I hope Nathan and Ryan really know how much we appreciate them." And I said, "I think they know."
Oh, we know.
But again, that's only $5 a month. That doesn't affect any regular content. But today we are talking about 1947's The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, which is directed by Norman Z. MacLeod. Um, this is based off of the book, the short story actually of Secret Life of Walter Mitty by James Thurber, which, if you're familiar, there's a much more famous version, which is the 2013 Ben Stiller movie,
Yeah.
which
Otherwise known as the most beautifully shot movie of all time. It's you remember that whole thing? Do you remember that deal when that movie came out?
no,
Yeah, I remember it was like a meme that went around, like where someone was like, "This movie is one of the most beautiful movies of all time," and then they had like the rule of thirds sheet, and they would just put it over every shot, and they're like, "Yeah, look, every shot is rule of thirds, beautiful." And then eventually people just started making fun of that. That was a little thing that went around for a bit.
no, I was not aware of that.
Yeah.
But have you seen that movie though, Nathan?
Yes. Yeah, I've seen that one. Yeah.
Okay, so I remember seeing it, and I actually remember enjoying it. I
Mm.
liked it's some like it's a meme, I get it, but some beautiful
Oh
scenery
yeah.
in there. Just a really nice looking movie, and just generally just a nice feel good experience where I was just kind of like, oh yeah, that's a movie that kind of motivates me.
That's
But
good. Yeah. Now I remember thinking it was okay. I didn't love it, but my parents love that movie. They do. They really enjoy that movie. So that's good. I think if I watched it now, I think I would probably appreciate it more as just like a nice feel good movie.
so like based off of that, I mean, because the story of that particular movie was basically a very meek employee named Walter Mitty that worked at a magazine company, and he had no life experiences. He never been outside of his little bubble,
hmm
and he ends up having like an amazing experience where he goes all around the world experiencing the sights and sounds and people, and it kind of broadens his horizons a little bit and just kind of shows him like living life to the fullest type of thing. Uh,
hmm
so that's kind of what I expected from this movie. I mean, I was just like, okay, well, then it's probably just like the spoon from the 40s is probably just like that. Like Walter Mitty is just this little guy, and he goes out to the world and becomes much more enriched.
Yes. Yeah.
That's
I go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah, that's what I was expecting. I was kind of like, okay, we're just gonna get the same movie, just older. Nope, these movies are barely comparable.
That the only thing that's matched is they have the same name, and he works like kind of like at a magazine. He works like at a collection of short stories, basically, of like but murder
Mhm.
stories or romance. It's like a lot of pulpy type of novels he works on.
Yeah, which is interesting. I was actually surprised by this movie by seeing the covers and then of all the books and everything. because it's supposed to be like those old detective books or whatever, but they're like very violent.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's this movie is a lot more violent than you would think. I mean, there's no
I,
blood or anything like
yeah,
that, but they do like describe different ways you could kill people in this movie, and there
yeah,
are uh there are people like trying to kill Walter Mitty.
yeah. I was surprised that this movie was like a feel good movie. Not a feel good movie. What am I saying? It was kind of a murder mystery movie. Like it's a
Mhm.
Yeah, because like it was just so weird. Because even when it started, I was like, okay, he's gonna go like on an adventure because it shows him daydreaming, and that's probably the best bits of the movie is when he daydreams and like there's the ship that he's on. That's like the very first one, I believe, and it's like a huge set with water and like the ship going, and he imagines himself being strong. But what I thought was weird is like I thought it was going to be all these little skits that show him being strong or being a hero. um, no, he there's some where he's like a weird like German man. Like he imagines himself in some weird situations, not really anything uplifting.
So there's like a really big disconnect in this movie for me, at least, where
Yeah.
it's just kind of like I because there's I let me put it this way. I appreciate some of the imagination sequences,
Hmm.
but they have almost like nothing to do with the main plot of the movie. So it just kind of feels like they're interrupting the movie in some sort of way. And also too, I like the imagination sequences more than I did the actual like real life plot of the movie.
No, I totally agree. I was expecting more out of this movie, and yeah, I don't know. It just was it's a disconnect. It just didn't work. It's not what I imagined because he daydreams, sure, and that maybe explains something at the end where they're able to like gaslight him into thinking something else. But they just never add to each other. They just never. I've never felt like either scene really added to each other very well.
No, I, I, because I what I thought was going to be like a thing was this is just me assuming it was going to be like the remake where I thought it was going to be something like he was going to have these imagination sequences and then he was actually going to be able to do these things where it would have been
Yeah.
like he imagined himself captaining a boat and then he actually does get to go on a boat or he's piloting a an airplane and he does get to pilot an airplane and it's just kind of like his reality versus what his expectations were but
Hmm.
because like you said, he has like the scene where he imagines himself being a captain. There's no moments that they're at sea ever.
No.
There's a there's a moment where he pictures himself being a British pilot taking out Nazis, and that again, that doesn't happen. And that one too, that particular imagination sequence where he does that, he goes on this really long like musical number. It was like that type of thing, and it's just
Hmm.
he's like making like instrument noises with his mouth, and it's really
Well,
odd.
it's
And it
very
goes on,
odd.
and it goes on for a while. I feel like.
Yeah, can you like explain to me? So I just explain it because I am like I guess I don't you I feel like you know a lot about like classic movie stars more than I do. What is Danny Kaye's deal? I know nothing about Danny Kaye. Do you know anything about him?
Well, yeah, I mean, Danny Kaye is I mean, he is a performer, I will say. I don't know if you want to say like he's like an actor, because I wouldn't say he's an actor. Like he is a great performer. Like
Hmm.
his most well-known movie is, of course, Singing in the Rain. He's one
Oh,
of the trio in that movie.
yes, yes, which I've seen that movie.
So phenomenal dancer, great singer.
Hmm.
Um, I think I think, if you put him on a stage and, tell him to like perform for a crowd, I think he would be perfect. And whenever he does these like musical little intros, I think that's kind of like, I think that's kind of where he shines. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna just say though, like him as like an actor though, I'm not really. I haven't been sold yet on him as an actor.
Yeah, and this movie didn't particularly sell me on him either. It definitely felt like, oh, I'm here to have some fun. Like this is just kind of like me just goofing around at some points. And sometimes he was funny. I mean, there's funny bits in this movie. And I mean, because I mean, it's a
I
funny idea. Because I guess getting into the plot of the movie, he's just very clueless. He's just so focused on his daydreams that he just can't remember anything. So his mom is just like can't give him lists of things to do. Probably one of the earliest funny scenes is like when he's a doctor and he's pretending to be a doctor in his head, and like he's like, oh, okay, I'm the magician like surgeon, and he uses all the tools from his mom's shopping list. So it's like, okay, get me a watering can, get me a cheese
yeah,
grater as he's
here
working
you
on,
go.
that's a funny idea. I like that little bit. But
Maybe I missed it. Why was he bringing like gardening supplies to his office every time?
I don't know.
So you remember like he brought like a watering can
Yeah,
and the next day he brought a rake.
I don't know because I remember the watering can is because he needed to return it, right? Because his mom was like, "Can you return this while you're working?" I don't remember the rake. I don't know why he had the rake.
That was the next day, like he brought a rake.
Yeah.
But yeah, like he kind of just he's very like you said, he's very clueless. He's just very cowardly too, I would say too. And
Mhm.
just kind of like are very maybe not cowardly, but very easily startled. I'll
Yes.
say
Yeah.
that.
By
Um,
everything, just his boss yelling at him sends him shivering.
mhm. And we kind of get a lot of scenes of that where he's just kind of like he's very over the top in this movie, and it's just kind of like a very like it just
Yeah.
it's like I didn't really buy him as like a character. It more just seemed like he was just trying to like generate reactions out of the audience.
Yeah, and that's a great way to explain it because that's kind of how I felt about it. It wasn't necessarily funny. You know what I mean? Like it was more like mugging. Like it felt like overly mugging. And I guess that just doesn't work quite well for me. So that made the main plot line not as enjoyable as it could have been. But I also just didn't like the main plot line that much. Because he gets put into the middle of a murder mystery because he meets this woman and they're in a car together, and then I think it's her uncle gets murdered, and he gets put into this whole conspiracy. Um, and I just didn't find it intriguing.
I didn't either. I was just more so like I just wasn't invested in
Mhm.
the whole murder mystery. It was a very because he'd see like people like wandering in and he's just like, oh, who's that? Like this guy that looks like a mustache guy, and then
Mhm.
later Boris Karloff like shows up.
That was cool. I was like, "Oh my god, that's Boris Karloff." It just pops up as a bad guy, of course.
Right. And he comes in like trying to throw Walter Mitty off the out of his building.
Uh-huh.
And there's like a running gag in this movie where Walter ends up getting thrown, or he's on the ledge of a building and he ends up falling back into his boss's office through the window.
Uh-huh. And like everybody's like, "What the hell is this guy doing?" There's like a scene where he's trying to sneak past him without getting caught, but he's like it's not even sneaking. He's crawling on the floor literally in front of him.
Hmm.
Um
But yeah, there's other aspects too in his life where Walter he's kind of a mama's boy, where he's just like his mom. He lives with his mom and he does everything his mom tells him to do.
yeah.
And he's engaged to Gertrude, I think her name is,
Yep.
it, it, who is very obsessed with her dog
Queenie.
and
Best character
Queenie.
in the movie. I
Hmm.
that this bit actually, I thought the Queenie bit made. I thought that was funny. There's something funny about a dog that hates one person. That's just fun. It works for
That
me.
was good.
Yeah,
I like that bit. Um, but she, at no point does she have like anything nice to say about Walter, and is just
yeah.
actively hates him and just says stuff like, "Oh, well, maybe I should marry this guy named Tubby because he really wants to marry me, and maybe I should just marry him. And this guy
Mhm.
like shows up to their house and has dinner and hangs out with them all the time
Yeah,
too.
and like makes fun of Walter the whole time too. At one point, he like puts like sneezing powder on him, like as a prank, and everyone
Mhm.
laughs at Walter. It's kind of sad a little, actually.
Yeah, but that's just the kind of bit where you don't really feel like I don't really I guess overall I don't really feel like the character of Walter ever grew as a character.
I like that.
I I
Hmm.
don't I feel like he always and like other than he had a new wife, girlfriend, whatever at the end of the movie, I don't feel like he ever grew as a character. It's not like he ever rose to the occasion and like, oh, I'm a big tough guy now. Because even at the end of the movie, his the girl, I gotta look up her name, Rosalind.
Hmm.
That's the mystery girl that he meets, and she ends up getting captured at the end of the movie. But like the bad guys like let him come in for the rescue to like they
Yeah.
pretend to get beaten up. So it's not like he like, oh man, he overcame the odds and took out these bad guys. And it was just kind of like he just kind of fell into this by dumb luck and just it all worked out in the end.
Yeah, and it doesn't play that well because that works in some movies, like the bumbling idiot that everything just works out in his path. It's not really doing that, and like you said, he doesn't grow. And it doesn't have to meet a formula, but sometimes a formula is nice and comfortable. And when I watch a movie like this, I want to see somebody who is lowly and doesn't really have a lot of self-respect, really learn about himself, and then by the end, he whenever he does get a new girlfriend and maybe a happier life, it's earned, right? He worked hard for that. And yeah, it just doesn't, he still seems like the bumbling, clueless idiot by the end of the movie. He doesn't get to live
Well,
out his daydreams.
that's the thing. Like I was never really endeared to the character. It was
Yeah.
never like a character where I was like, oh man, I really want to see him succeed, or like, oh man,
Hmm.
if he, because at no point was he ever competent in any sort of way. I
No.
mean, like he had like good ideas. I mean, there was a funny bit at his job where he was just like, we need to come out with the pocket-sized edition of these books,
Uh-huh.
and then his boss was like, that's a stupid idea, and then just like 2 minutes later, like, hey, pocket-sized
Uh,
editions, that's a
a-
great idea that I
and
just
then
had, type
and
of
then
thing.
later when he falls back into the room, he's having a meeting. He's like, 2 years ago, I had an idea for a pocket-sized edition, and we should do it now.
Hmm. So that bit was funny, but my point is like we never saw any moments of greatness out of this character. I mean, for
Yeah.
me, like to be endeared to like a bumbling character, I'm gonna go and make an example of like The Office
Yeah.
with
Okay.
the Steve Carell's character, Michael Scott. He is an idiot
Hmm.
and he's very incompetent in a lot of ways, but we do see very quick glimpses of brilliance out of him
Yeah,
where there'll be,
and you get to see him as like a good guy sometimes, right? You're like, okay, there's a heart there too.
yeah, he's super endearing when he wants to be, and he's not an he's not a complete idiot. Like you could see why he get into why he got that job that he got because he does know what he's talking about in certain ways because
Yeah.
he is a people person. He knows how to talk to people. But with Walter, I just don't really feel like I got anything out of that. I never felt like I really got to see him being like a
Yeah.
superstar or him being like a hero type of character. It was more so just being like, oh man, this is just a really wacky situation and it just kind of all works out.
Yeah, because and I think this is something that we've been talking about this whole time. This movie just has a wrong identity. I don't think it understands what it is and it mixes that up because, it's part trying to be endearing, doesn't work at that. I think they could have pivoted it and just had it be like a Danny Kaye, almost like a Jerry Lewis movie where it's like, oh, he's just a jokester, and then just have more gags like that in it, and maybe its identity would be a little more concrete, or have it be like a little more like of a lesson movie, a life lesson, a man trying to get better movie. But instead, we get this mix that just makes the resolution and everything that goes in it just not click. I was honestly surprised. I don't know. I guess most people don't remember this movie, and that's probably for good reason. It just it was disappointing. That's the best way. I think I was just kind of disappointed. I was expecting, oh, the classic version of Walter Mitty, that'll probably be good.
Yeah, and I thought like maybe this would be like a good opportunity. We could see like a globe trotting. I thought, like I said, I was expecting a globe trotting type of movie,
Hmm.
but from like the 40s perspective, which not really what we got, but what they were trying to accomplish, I thought it was executed not so great.
Yeah.
And I think we were both kind of disappointed in the movie, and we're not the only ones.
Okay.
So James Thurber, the author of the original book, did not like this adaptation at all. In particular, he hated Danny Kaye's performance of Walter Mitty.
Really? Okay. Yeah, I could see it. I wonder if the new Ben Stiller movie is more. And it's modern, but I wonder if it's more. It's closer to the source material.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't read it, so I couldn't tell you, but just comparing the two movies side by side, um, I would have to say that I did like the remake better. It's just there's something visually pleasing to that movie,
Mhm.
even if you're not super invested in the story. But there's I still got a lot more enjoyment out of that compared to the original movie, which it's really hard for me to say like, oh, this is a remake, because like you said, it's almost two different movies.
Yeah, it's pretty much just like polar opposites just have the same name, so they don't even need comparison really. But if I were to compare, yeah, I think like I appreciate, though I thought it was okay. I appreciate the other Walter Mitty better because I feel like it had more of a lesson to tell. I like that it went for a feel good angle, and I do think it captured that. Like there's something nice about seeing somebody be like, you know what, I'm just gonna live my life to the way I want it, and I guess I appreciate that more than whatever was going on in the 40s one.
Yeah, definitely. Um, so I think that's not going to be, I'm going to have to say a not recommend for this one.
Yeah, that's okay. Not yeah, it's fine. Not recommend.
Yeah. But that's going to do it for this week, Nathan. So what do we talk about next time?
All right. Well, Ryan, we are going to be talking about 1946's The Stranger from Arson Welles. So that'll be fun. But Ryan, what are we going to be talking about on Thursday?
We are going to be talking about a movie I remember from my childhood, and I want to watch it again. We're going to be talking about 1992's Munchie.
Oh, I know that poster with the little guy going like, "Hey!" like on the
Yeah.
yeah. All right, I'm excited for that one.
So we'll do that then. And that is streaming for free on Tubi right now.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to watch that one.
But you have any thoughts and opinions, please email us. If you have any thoughts and opinions, please email us over at driveanddoubleFeaturePodcast@gmail.com. Don't forget to check out our Patreon at patreon.com/driveanddoubleFeaturePodcast. And once again, check out our YouTube channel at youtube.com/driveanddoubleFeaturePodcast. But until next time.
Until next time.